So get out on the floor, scream until you're sick and loose. Yeah, the house is a rockin', don't bother knocking. Well, the house is a rockin', don't bother knocking. Yeah, the house is a rockin', don't bother, come on in. I said the house is a rockin', don't bother, come on in.
Hello and welcome back to all of my fellow backseat drivers and race fans out there. We are here with GT3 nights, except we're doing the daytime right at the moment. We're actually right into qualifying right now, so we're going to jump right into it. So we're on board with Nick Harwood here, who's currently running third in the standings. We're already 6 minutes and 20 seconds in. Kevin Sandiego on pole position at the moment with a 1:59.646, followed by Jordan Lacey, Nick Harwood. We see here Matthew Smotherman, Shane Hunter getting into the top 10 with a 2:08. And they're shuffling in all over the place. We got a nice big grid this evening. Thank you for joining us here on Backseat Broadcasting. I'm your host, Eric Elkins. Had a few technical difficulties getting into the lobby, but we are finally here. Andy Cantu not on the timing board yet. Michael Harney with an off track, it looks like. Still have a number of drivers out there still to set some times for us, even though we just crossed the 7-minute mark. And I'm pretty surprised to see some of these drivers. I was wondering if we were going to break the 2-minute mark with the GT3s, and we most certainly did by nearly half a second. And Jordan Lacey with an off track there. That's going to do it for his qualifying. Eric Jenkins also heading to the pits. Trading Paints catching up at the moment, as it must reload all of the drivers. Corey Mitchell sitting just outside of the top 10. Richard Swindell's down in 17th place here. Comes around the hairpin. He will have enough time. Clifton Urano with an off track. I believe that was. Remember, that was Matthew Smotherman. Kevin Sandiego not able to beat his original time. That will do it for his qualifying. Andy Cantu comes around T1, but he will not have enough time to better himself. Matthew Smotherman comes across the line. Doesn't really race towards it. It's just doing some practice out there. We will have a pit stop about 25-30 minutes into the race, as there is a fuel restriction. And a minute left, minute 10 left. Vincent Wood comes across the line. He's going to slot into 14th with that lap. Kent Kruger not on out there at the moment. Michael Johnson don't think we'll have the time to finish this lap. Cliff coming around Sunset. And that was not a clean one for him. Kevin Sandiego goes off track, and that will pretty much do it for qualifying. So let's run down the race grid now that we are ready to go. And that was Kevin Sandiego taking pole position out there, followed by Andy Cantu, Nick Harwood, Jordan Lacey lining up on row 2. Then we have Matthew Smotherman, followed by Clifton Naranjo, Brian DeVries, Eric Nickens, welcome Eric, Dustin Burkhalter, Troy Banks. Completing the top 10 out there. Then we got Shane Hunter, Corey Mitchell, Jason Biding, Vincent Wood, Douglas Doucette, Justin Torres, Richard Swindell, Michael Harney, Jomi Golahar, followed by Roman Bykoff, completing the top 20. Christopher Gargano, another new member out there. Welcome, Christopher. Paul Metzger, Eric Jensen, Brian Zinn. Where did we leave off? Ty Johnson. Wow, we have a nice full grid today. Sean Guru, I don't know, but welcome, Sean, a new member. Brian Miles, Roger Lee, David Fendick. Oh, missed somebody. David Fendick, Paul Slavonic, welcome Paul. Michael Johnson, James Butner, Robbie Campbell, and hopefully the rest of these guys. Have a nice full lobby. A lot of people did not participate in qualifying. Here we are sitting right on the start-finish line. We're going to do a full lap out there to warm these tires up. Let's take a quick look actually at that race info. It's 81 degrees out there on track. Nice, beautiful day to go race. So here we go on our full out lap. Oh, big news here on the channel for Backseat Broadcasting. We're getting a YouTube award this year. So big shout out and thank you to all of the guys that watch the channel. You guys really make it happen. YouTube Analytics says we have the highest percentage of views on mute. So that's amazing, and we're psyched to get the award. So big thank you to you guys out there in TV land. But I guess you can't hear me. Oh heavens, what is going on? Computer freaking out again. Just in time. Around this long out lap. Kevin taking to the very outside of Sunset. And with green flag out there, we're ready to race. Kevin cuts across the racing line. And we go 2-3 wide behind them through T1. Oh, and Brian DeVries off early in the Ferrari. And everybody must shuffle one by one through there around Big Bend we go. Kevin Sandiego takes us down to the hairpin for the first time. One of the first big braking zones in this track. Looks like Justin Torres there on the inside battling with Richard Swindells. Oh, it gets a little hairy behind. It looks like Andrew Rasmussen tangling with, oh, and Andrew Rasmussen getting turned again. And Sean Giroux. Oh, and they just keep coming. It's not pretty back there at all. And Corey Mitchell gets tagged and starts spinning out himself. It's not the prettiest start getting out of the hairpin there. Everyone getting more or less in line if you could make it through the drama. Back up top, it's Kevin Sandiego, followed by Andy Cantu. The top four are as you were, followed by Jordan Lacey in fourth place there. Clifton Arano making up one. Matthew Smotherman losing out two on the opening lap. Vincent Wood hot on the heels of Troy Banks as they go side by side down the back straight. A little bit further back, there's a nice little pack here. Roger Lee to the inside of Jimmy Golahar here. Oh, and there's a spinner up ahead. It looks like Eric Jensen. And a couple other people, Mason Smotherman or maybe Ty Johnson. Michael Harney getting caught up in that. Side by side, it's Jimmy Golahar here. And he gets overtaken. Matthew Smotherman loses another one. Shane Hunter makes up 4 positions from the beginning. Doug Doucette is up 5. Brian DeVries on the inside there, getting up that position back. He's only down, one of mine, I thought Jimmy Golahar is only down 3. Brian is down 14 positions. Troy Banks not having a good race. He's out of the top 10 now. But keeping it clean at least. It's James Buntner behind him, who might be a lap down. I don't know. Software can be funny. Let it figure itself out. They might be racing for position, or he might be a lap down. The software was weird on Sunday for Kevin Sandiego's finish. I don't know if he had a black flag he didn't finish, or possibly just started from the pits or something and it freaked. Matthew Smotherman covers off Eric Nickens behind. Kevin Sandiego giving no breathing room for the lead of this race. But this qualifying, he's able to get out in front and keep it. He's already coming up to Roger Lee, a lap car ahead, 2.2 ahead. just a whole mess of cars coming down this straight here. Troy Banks has Matthew Smotherman to his inside car off track. It's Eric Nickens kicking cones out into the track. Justin Torres battling with Jacob Eiding behind him. Roman Bykoff has Richard Swindells next to him. Oh, sorry. No, that's Eric. And then behind them, let's see what had happened on that lap 1 incident there. Oh, and there's the lovely roll bar. Oh, and there was a lot of rubbing to his left with Andrew Rasmussen right there. And there was hardly any space to race as it all ended up. Vincent Wood up 5 positions here. Matthew Smotherman not having a good race, dropping 5 positions thus far. Looks like Jimmy Golahar has had an accident. Oh, down at Sunset. Just coming in real hot. Manages to get it out of the way though. Ooh, and Robbie Campbell just outbraking himself there, trying to get past Paul Metzger. Doug Doucette up 7 positions, but he's under a ton of pressure here as he leads this little pack and wants to get back by him. Oh, and Vincent Wood with a storming exit out of the that turn. Matthew Smotherman wants to get a piece of it as well, trying to get to the inside. Vincent Wood goes very wide, taking the cones with him. Troy Banks trying to get by Doug Doucette on the inside here. Matthew looks like he might be through. No, Vincent Wood cuts back across with all of that extra speed. Troy to the inside. Vincent Wood just manages to keep it on track. Who's going to drop the anchor here? Matthew takes to the inside. Troy to the outside. And he's got it done finally, giving him a little bit of breathing room as Justin Torres gets an eye to make a move, followed by Jacob Eiding. And side by side. That looks like Douglas Doucette, who has lost all those positions out of a very, very bumpy and aggressive pack of guys. Justin Torres still sitting off track. Big bummer. Douglas Doucette, after making up those 7 positions, that just makes it 1 position made up. After an extreme lap of racing from the competitors around him. Did not make it easy. Kevin Sandiego only has Andy Cantu for company to make a challenge out of it. Oh, does Brian have another crash? He's falling down places now, so I believe he does. Ooh, and that's not a good place to have it. Oh, and he gets extra kicked by the pack we saw coming through, Michael Harney and somebody else. And that's a real bummer place to have it. You know what car I bet you could put a lot of clean laps in? With, ooh, and that's James Butner to the inside of Michael Harney, managing to keep hold of that AMG. And there's the lap car of Roger Lee in between Ken Kruger and Michael Johnson. And we're 11 minutes in, and I can catch my breath, finally. I mean, I say screw it. Go for it, Doug. This is how these guys are going to play. Do it. Theme of the day is rubbing, like everyone stays on track bumping. Hell yeah, go for it. Kevin Sandiego under major pressure for the lead. Andy to the inside. Oh, this is the rubbing we wanted to see. Andy has to get out of the throttle a little bit as he is just squeezed to the inside. Kevin sustains the lead for another lap. Goodness gracious. Eric Jensen and Paul Slavonik here. A nice tussle towards the end of their lap. Oh, and Paul to the inside. He's going to just drift it, but he's not able to keep that car on track. Eric Nickens keeping this little battle going. Mason Smotherman up 18 positions at the moment. I think that beats his brother. And around Sunset they go again, and they make more contact. And Kevin is the loser this time with the contact. He loses 2 spots as Jordan Lacey was able to close with all of their fighting last lap. Now Clifton Ronho is the closest car to Kevin, and that's the battle for third. Ken Kruger right on Ty Johnson's bumper. He's going to head to the inside here. Old Coach Kent, who's been showing everybody how to pass lately. Oh, and it looks like Michael Johnson might also want a piece of that. Terrible, absolutely terrible with this car. What on earth is Ty Johnson staying ahead for the moment? Robbie Campbell with a crash here. See what happens. He's got a car tight to his outside. And manages to keep it moving. 3 wide we go here. With Justin Torres on the inside there. That was Roger Lee, who was on the racing line. Corey Mitchell's going to slide through. Ooh, Robbie Campbell and Jimmy Golahar come together. Robbie right to his bumper. Doing a little bump draft, heads down to the inside. And he just says, take it already. Mason Smotherman up 18 positions. Still sitting down at 17th place, but his brother is currently down 3. And Vincent Wood heads into the pits. I wonder if he had some damage. Doesn't really look like it. We have a couple cars coming in for the pit stops already. And James Butner, a few guys have already come in for about 45 seconds, which I guess is the time to get fuel and tires, perhaps. Some of them come back out on track in a battle for 15th place. And beautiful move by Ty Johnson there after we saw Roman Bykoff have that spin, shake his confidence a little bit. Corey Mitchell behind. I hate this car. Looking to pounce. What if we did? It's a little bit better. What happened to Ty Johnson? Ty Johnson went a little wide. This timing tower right now is obviously not a timing tower, but it is your pit time tower, and not many people have come in. We're 22 minutes into the race. These guys, at least if you could see at the top 10 or so, 10, 11, have some space in between them, so not a lot of traffic. It's Jacob Eiding really hugging that inside and catching that huge curbing there. Kind of want to watch that again if no one else minds, if you ain't got nothing else to do. Really riding the bumps back there. And a few people now coming into the pits. Richard Swindells, Brian Zinn, Michael Johnson, Ken Kruger, Eric Jensen, all stopping for fuel. Oh, and there's a spin just ahead of them. It's Jimmy Golahar, who sounded like he had hit the wall back there. Ken Kruger's exiting the pits just ahead of Michael Johnson. So it's as you were. They came in together. Justin Torres is back there. Sean Giroux comes in. Eric Jensen stopping only for 7.3 seconds. I don't know if that's going to be long enough for him. Or maybe he just had to come in a little bit earlier. Jordan able to stay within spin distance of Andy. He decides to come into the pits now. Kevin moves back up to second. Clifton also comes in at this moment. Nick Harwood hot on the heels of Shane Hunter ahead. Uh, 10.9 is good enough for Jordan, and same for Clifton as he exits the pits. Doug Doucette finds his stall. Roman Bykoff is coming in as well. And the true fuel metric out there is still going. Oh, and what has happened here? And they are back to fighting. I don't quite know. Oh, Andy has gone off track, and that has brought Kevin Sandiego behind into play. Let's go live with them now as they keep battling, and they're pulling up on some traffic here, most certainly. That's Eric Jensen ahead and Sean Giroux. Eric lets them go. Sean is still ahead, coming up the works for Andy. And they're going to have to get by on the straights, it looks like. and Nick Harwood also having a great battle right now with Shane Hunter ahead. Kevin Sandiego trying to get as much of a draft as possible so he can head to the inside, and he's almost got it done, and oh, and he gives him a big bump, and that was an awkward situation all around. Very upsetting for both drivers. At least Kevin gets to come right into the pits right now and get settled up. He's 1.4 behind as they enter the pits. He will at least get, you know, the fast repair. Kent Kruger still winning this little duel. Doug Doucette in the midfield, staying ahead of Eric for the moment. And will we see Jordan Lacey take the lead of the race? Andy heads out. Kevin Sandiego stopping for much longer than Andy. Andy only 8.6 in the pits. Jordan Lacey is into the lead though, as Dustin Burkhalter and Troy Banks are yet to pit. So in the net lead, anyways, Corey Mitchell, ooh, getting past Shane Hunter there as his battle with Nick Harwood has come to a standstill. I don't know what happened to Nick, but he definitely fell off the pace there. Oh, and there's a battle with Doug Doucette crashing next to Richard Swindells. We didn't quite see it. There's so much going on track at the moment. We didn't quite catch it. Kevin Sandiego gets passed by Clifton Naranjo in the pit stop window. Very exciting race, and Troy, of course, still to come in. Dustin Burkhalter pushes it for another lap as well. He's your race leader at the moment. I believe he was running in 4th or 5th place, pretty handy, as he has had a nice quiet race to himself. It's been lap practice for a few of these guys. Ooh, as Ken Kruger gets a little loose out of the hairpin. David Fendick has a crash back here. What's going on, Dan? Into T1, it's very easy for that rear end to get away from him. He manages to at least keep it out of the wall and off the racing line. Does a good job out there. Corey Mitchell still dealing with Shane Hunter behind him, now sort of next to him. We'll see what happens here. Maybe Shane's going for the cut back here, but he doesn't quite get it right. He's going to follow Corey around. Dustin Burkhalter and Troy Banks are into the pits, releasing Jordan Lacey, Andy Cantu, James Buntner. I don't know if he's still on the lead lap. This seems a little strange. He wasn't in the mix before quite, but he might have, and plus he had a 45-second stop. Not quite sure what's going on with that. Clifton Naranjo and then Kevin Sandiego. Nick Harwood has got back up. And Robbie Campbell somehow making it into the pits there. He gets moving again. Nick Harwood getting turned around for trying to be the gentleman on the outside. I don't quite know what happened there, but we are 3 wide here. Nearly. Ooh. Eric Jensen having to get out of that maneuver. Jimmy Golahar early on the brakes. Robbie Campbell having another incident, I think. And as you can see, losing it in T1. All this mid-engine hype. Nonsense. 9 minutes to go. The whole field has visited the pits. And up top is Jordan Lacey holding on barely from Andy Cantu. Less than a second is the battle for the lead. Jacob Eiding going to the inside. Sorry, that's Eric. And then, yeah, Eric getting that one done. Very nice maneuver. Good racing out there. It's Michael Johnson ahead of Mason Smotherman, and Kent Kruger is now behind. Brian Zinn being pushed by Doug Doucette in the lap car of Andrew Rasmussen, who was part of that early incident pileup. Oh, and we see Brian Zinn hitting the inside wall of Big Ben there. And that's going to be a major bummer, man. As we are only 8 seconds from the end. Brian Zinn is just pissed, doesn't know what to do. He goes back to the pits. Ooh, Sean with a big excursion off the track there. Russell Elizondo also outbrakes himself, it looks like, for T1 and just tries to keep it out of the wall. Does well. Andy comes back into the pits. I don't quite know what's happening here. Maybe he's getting a drive-through penalty. He's had a couple rubs with some competitors. That brings these guys back into the podium, or at least Kevin anyways. Andy has something going on. I don't quite know. Maybe he didn't get enough fuel with that shorter pit stop that we saw. There was only 8 point whatever seconds. He now realizes it wasn't enough, perhaps, because I think it's just a drive-through penalty for the points. Sorry, incidents. Mason Smotherman going door to door here with Kent Kruger. Kent Kruger's barging his way through. He's going to start hunting down Michael Johnson again. And he emerges back on track. He's in 8th place at the moment. And it's Lamborghini 1, 2, 3. Mercedes are dumb. James Butner trying around the outside of T1. Oh, there's a driver off as well. Oh, getting a little racy out there. Elbow's starting to come out. And it looks like around T1 it was Shane Hunter who went off track. No, maybe that was Jimmy Golahar. Nope, it wasn't him. It was somebody just sitting, who's been sitting there. Coming in a lot of replays. Mason Smotherman still fighting with Kent Kruger back here, his brother. Currently fighting with Andy Cantu, who's desperate to get some points back. Michael Harney, one of the cars making some contact and sort of spreading out during this race, not having too many close battles. Brian DeVries keeping it clean. Most importantly. Just caught Michael Harney trying to take an emergency pit stop. Oh goodness. And on the final lap as well is a white flag as well. We are out of race time actually. Oh goodness gracious. And there is your leader hitting Paul Metzger. And really bringing Clifton Naranjo up into the lead of the race on the final lap. Oh, what a bummer for Jordan Lacey as he was handed the lead after the pit stops. Let's get this tower out of the freaking way. Oh my goodness gracious, what a finale. Thank you, Paul Metzger. You're creating all sorts of chaos towards the end. And I cannot wait to see Jordan Lacey try to fight back here. We go down the back straight for the final time. Can he do anything about it? He's got to be brave. He's got to be bold. And it doesn't look like he's going to be able to get anything on him. Maybe they're going to drag race down to the finish line. Oh, and it looks like Cliff just wins out by 5/100ths there. We got good battles all over the grid, though, to finish up. Oh, amazing as Jordan Lacey cannot recover. Kevin Sandiego comes third, followed by Dustin Burkhalter. That's Shane Hunter, followed by Nick Harwood. James Butner hunting down Troy Banks, but I don't think he's going to catch him. Vincent Wood stays ahead of Eric to win this little battle that they had, but killer battle for the lead right until the death of the race. Killer job out there to everybody. Part of the Lambo Club here. And let's try to pull up those race results for you here, folks. And that's Clifton Naranjo just barely taking the win by 54 100ths. Oh, sorry, that's 54 1,000ths. And getting them 3 extra points. And the race went above Jordan Lacey, Kevin San Diego coming in third, followed by Dustin Burkhalter, Shane Hunter, Nick Harwood, Andy Cantu down in 7th, Matthew Smotherman in 8th, followed by Troy Banks, James Butner rounding out the top 10 drivers. Vincent Wood is followed by Eric Nickens, Richard Swindells, Jacob Eiding, Douglas Doucette, Corey Mitchell, Michael Johnson, Ken Kruger, Mason, should be Mason, Paul Slavonic, Mason Smotherman, Ty Johnson, Robbie Campbell, Brian DeVries, Jimmy Golahar, Eric Jensen, Paul Metzger, Russell Elizondo rounding out the top 30. Then we got Andrew Rasmussen, David Fendick, Brian Zinn, Sean Giroux, and that is it for the drivers that were able to finish. What a dramatic finish it was. Speaking of finishes, as always, I request that you hit the thumbs down. And I request that you unsubscribe from this godforsaken muted channel. And please hit the bell an even number of times. I'm sick of saying it. And we will see you on Thursday for the GTs.